Imagine being caught red-handed. Imagine the anti-corruption task team raiding your home and finding state-issued explosives, 7 firearms, bundles of unexplained cash, and worst of all, active original police dockets detailing cash-in-transit robberies hidden in your backyard. Most people would crumble. Most people would confess. But Sgt Fannie Nkosi is not most people. Today, he walked into the Pretoria North Magistrates Court, looked the magistrate in the eye, and dropped an absolute bombshell. He claims he is entirely innocent. The state has a vendetta against him, and those stolen dockets, well, he says he can't talk about them because they are classified as an intelligence matter. Mzansi, grab a seat and pay close attention because today's court proceedings have completely flipped the script. What we witnessed today was not just a standard bail application, it was a masterclass in underworld legal strategy. Let's break down exactly what happened in the dock today, act by act, because the Madlanga Commission is officially under threat. Let's set the scene. It is Monday morning, April 13th, 2026. The Pretoria North Magistrates Court is packed. Journalists, heavily armed tactical response members, and state prosecutors are all waiting for the man of the hour, suspended SAPS official Sgt Fannie Nkosi. If you remember from our last update, just a few days ago, this was a man who was terrified. He was on a hunger strike. He was begging not to be sent to the Kosi Mampuru prison, claiming he feared the notorious numbers gangs would assassinate him before he could testify further at the Madlanga Commission. He looked defeated. But today the fear was gone. Sgt Nkosi entered the dock with a completely different energy. The swagger of Agent 007 had returned. He stood tall, flanked by his legal counsel, Adv Sizo Dlali. This drastic shift in body language tells us something crucial as political analysts. When a high-ranking organized crime cop suddenly stops looking scared and starts looking defiant, it usually means one thing. The syndicate has assured him that the legal strategy is locked in. The panic has been replaced by a carefully constructed narrative. And that narrative began the moment Advocate Dlali opened his mouth to read Nkosi's sworn affidavit into the court record.
That your client speaks Zulu, right?
That's correct, yes.
Does he require the services of an interpreter to interpret the contents of this affidavit?
If I may inquire, Your Worship.
Yes, you may approach.
In the case that he understands, Your Worship.
All right, please stand up, Mr. Nkosi. Do you confirm the contents of this affidavit?
Yes, I confirm.
The signature attached on the second last page of this affidavit above the names Nkosi, Fannie, Ezekiel, you confirm if it's your signature?
Yes, I confirm, Your Worship.
And I see there's also initialing on each and every page. Do you confirm that you've initialed all the pages of the affidavit?
Yes, I confirm, Your Worship.
Right, you also confirm its contents.
That's correct.
Thank you. Right, State, do you have any objection that this affidavit be accepted as evidence? No objection. All right. An affidavit in support of the applicant's formal bail application is accepted as evidence. It is marked Exhibit A.
In South African criminal law, a formal bail application for Schedule 5 or 6 offenses requires the accused to submit an affidavit. This is a sworn statement where the accused must prove that the interests of justice permit their release. Advocate Sizo Dlali took the floor and read Nkosi's statement, and the very first bombshell was dropped right out of the gate. Sgt Nkosi pleaded not guilty to all charges, every single one. He denies the unlawful possession of explosives. He denies the failure to safeguard firearms and ammunition. And he strongly denies the charge of defeating the administration of justice. Mzansi, let's apply some common sense here. The Madlanga task team, an elite unit mandated directly by President Cyril Ramaphosa, raided his house. They physically found the grenades. They physically found the guns under his mattress. They physically found the 50,000 rand in cash. This wasn't a rumor. This was a highly documented search and seizure operation. Yet, his legal strategy is absolute denial. But it gets even more audacious. After pleading not guilty, Advocate Dlali told the court that his client is not a flight risk. He argued that Nkosi is a dedicated police officer with deep ties to his community, and then he dropped the number. Sgt Fannie Nkosi told the court he can afford a bail amount of 10,000 rand. 10,000 rand. Let that sink in for a moment. This is a man who was caught with 50,000 rand in raw, unexplained cash stuffed inside a Wendy house. This is a man who was previously found with 380,000 rand in suspected Limpopo heist money, which he tried to write off as a sketchy bucky sale. This is a man accused of acting as the chief middleman between the South African Police Service and Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, the alleged leader of the heavily armed Big Five cartel. And he stands before a magistrate and offers 10,000 rand for his freedom. In the legal world, bail amounts are calculated based on the accused's financial means and the severity of the crime. Offering 10,000 rand for a case involving high treason-level corruption, explosives, and cartel links is not just a legal submission, it is an absolute insult to the intelligence of the state prosecutors. It is a strategic move designed to paint Nkosi as just a humble, middle-class civil servant who barely has 2 cents to rub together. But the state wasn't buying it, and neither should we, because the real meat of the defense was yet to come.
Break order or undermine the proper functioning of the criminal justice system. The offenses that I've been charged with are the offenses against the state, and as I've demonstrated, the charges against me are weak and non-existent, and are only brought against me in order to frustrate me for the reasons that are unknown to me. I will comply with such conditions as the above honorable court may wish to impose. I accordingly submit that the interests of justice, considerations of prejudice, and the balancing of respective interests favor my release on bail. My family and friends have advised me that they will be able to post bail in the amount of 10,000 rand. Signed and commissioned today, Your Worship, the 13th of April 2026. It has been duly signed by Mr. Nkosi. With your permission, my lady, may I hand up the affidavit as an exhibit.
Now, we arrive at the most dangerous part of today's court proceedings. This is the bombshell that could literally derail the entire Madlanga commission if the magistrate accepts it. The elephant in the room has always been the dockets. Forget the guns for a second. The fact that Nkosi had 6 serious crime dockets, 5 of them original files, linked to unsolved cash-and-transit robberies in Roodepoort and Musina is the smoking gun. It is the direct link between the SAPS and the criminal underworld. When the prosecution pressed on this issue, expecting Nkosi to fumble for an excuse, his lawyer deployed the ultimate bureaucratic shield. Nkosi refused to go into the issue of the dockets, telling the court that their presence at his house is an intelligence matter. Mzansi, do you understand what he just did there? Let me break down this specific police jargon. When a rogue cop gets caught doing something blatantly illegal, the oldest trick in the deep state playbook is to claim you are operating under black ops or crime intelligence mandates. By calling it an intelligence matter, Nkosi is essentially telling the court, yes, I had the dockets, but I had them because I was running a highly classified, top-secret undercover operation. And because it's classified state security, I cannot discuss the details in an open court, nor can I reveal my handlers because it would compromise national security. It is a brilliant, terrifying, and deeply manipulative legal loophole. He is weaponizing the secrecy of the SAPS Crime Intelligence Division to cover his own tracks. If the court accepts that these dockets were part of a classified intelligence gathering operation, it throws a massive wrench into the prosecution's case. The state will now have to subpoena classified police intelligence records just to prove that Nkosi wasn't running an official operation. And we all know how long that takes. It takes years. Files go missing. Generals refuse to testify. But let's look at the facts. Why would a police sergeant keep official closed CIT dockets in a backyard Wendy house for an intelligence operation? You don't investigate unsolved crimes by hiding the evidence from your own colleagues. You hide dockets when you are protecting the people who committed the crimes. Nkosi isn't protecting state intelligence. Analysts strongly suspect he is protecting the Big Five cartel. By keeping those cases marked as undetected, he ensured his underworld bosses could operate with absolute impunity. But today, he wrapped that corruption in the South African flag and called it state security. Once Advocate Dlali established the intelligence excuse, he moved to the final phase of the affidavit, the victim card. Sergeant Nkosi explicitly stated that the state's case against him is incredibly weak, that the charges are frivolous, and that they are completely fabricated. But why would the state fabricate charges against him? What is the motive? Nkosi claims there is a vendetta against him. And this is where the politics of the Madlanga Commission come crashing into the Pretoria North Magistrates Court. Remember the timeline. Nkosi sat on the witness stand at the Madlanga Commission for 2 explosive weeks in March. He sang like a canary. He divulged massive criminal dealings between senior police officials and cartel leader Kat Matlala. He confessed to facilitating meetings. He pointed fingers at top brass. He named names. And then, just days after his testimony, the task team kicks down his door and arrests him. Nkosi's defense is trying to spin a narrative for the media and the magistrate. They are saying, look, Sergeant Nkosi is a whistleblower. He exposed the dirty generals at the Madlanga Commission, and in retaliation, the state planted explosives and dockets at his house to silence him and discredit his testimony. It is a Hollywood-level script. But there is a massive flaw in his logic. The task team that arrested him wasn't sent by the corrupt generals he exposed. The task team was mandated by President Ramaphosa specifically to investigate the crimes uncovered by the commission. The people who arrested Nkosi are the good guys trying to clean up the mess he helped create. But Nkosi knows that the South African public is deeply mistrustful of the police. He knows that we have seen whistleblowers assassinated and framed before. He is trying to hijack genuine public anxiety to save his own skin. He wants the magistrate to look at him not as a cartel middleman, but as a persecuted truth-teller. It is psychological warfare in the courtroom.
But the National Prosecuting Authority is not backing down. As soon as Advocate Dlali finished reading the affidavit, the state prosecutor stood up and firmly declared that they will be vehemently opposing the bail application. Let's look at why the state must keep him in custody. In a Schedule 5 or 6 bail application, the state will argue a few key points, heavily reliant on legal jargon. Number 1, flight risk. Despite Nkosi claiming he has ties to Pretoria, the state knows he has access to cartel resources. A man who handles hundreds of thousands of rands in cash for the underworld can disappear across the Zimbabwean or Mozambican border in a matter of hours. Number 2, interference with witnesses and evidence. This is the biggest factor. Nkosi is a trained police detective. He knows how the system works. He knows where the evidence is kept. He knows the names and addresses of every single witness the Madlanga Commission is planning to call. If you let a man with his skill set and his alleged cartel connections out on 10,000 rand bail, the chances of state witnesses suddenly dying in mysterious drive-by shootings skyrocket. We've already seen it happen. Look at Marius van der Merwe, the private security officer who testified at the Madlanga Commission late last year. He was gunned down outside his home just 3 weeks after giving evidence. The state cannot afford another dead witness. Number 3, public outrage. Releasing a police officer found with state explosives and stolen dockets back into the community would severely undermine the public's faith in the justice system. So, for now, Sgt Fannie Nkosi remains in custody. Despite his newfound confidence in the dock today, he is not going home to his Wendy house. The magistrate previously ruled that he must be kept in the hospital wing of the Kosi Mampuru prison for his own safety. And that hospital wing is essentially a gilded cage. He is isolated from the brutal numbers gangs in the general population, but he is still locked behind high walls, completely cut off from his underworld handlers. Every day he spends in that cell, the state's forensic teams are tearing through his finances, his phone records, and his seized laptops. Mzansi, what we are witnessing is the desperation of a cornered animal. The intelligence matter defense is a smokescreen. The 10,000 Rand bail offer is a joke, and the Vendetta claim is a distraction. Sgt Fannie Nkosi thought he could play both sides. He thought he could take the cartel's money and then buy his immunity by giving half-truths to the Madlanga Commission. But the president's task team called his bluff. The bail application continues, and the stakes have never been higher. If the magistrate grants him bail, it sends a message to every corrupt cop in South Africa that you can hide active murder and robbery dockets in your backyard, claim it was a secret mission, and walk free for the price of a mid-range smartphone. But if they keep him locked up, the pressure will mount. And eventually, a man like Nkosi, a man who has already shown he is willing to name names, might finally drop the Intelligence Act and expose the absolute top tier of the SAPS hierarchy. Mzansi, this case is far from over, and we will be tracking every single moment of it. I want to pass the question over to you now. Jump into the comment section below. Do you buy Sergeant Nkosi's defense? Do you think those dockets were genuinely part of an intelligence operation, or is he just trying to protect the Big Five cartel? Let's get the debate going down below. I will be reading and responding to your insights. If you found this deep dive valuable, please leave a like on the video, share it with someone who needs to know the truth about our justice system, and make sure you are subscribed to Mzansi PoliScope. We are fighting for accountability, one case at a time. Stay safe out there, Mzansi, and I will see you in the next update.